One HBO Max fantasy show could be dubbed his Dark Materials meets The Magicians given its setting and style, which would lead a lot of readers to wonder how they could have possibly missed this one-season wonder. There have been a lot of major fantasy shows on network TV, cable TV, and streaming since HBO's Game of Thrones adaptation proved a massive breakthrough success, and these have been evenly split between similarly dark, subversive, R-rated fare like AMC's Interview with a Vampire and more family-friendly efforts like HBO's upcoming Harry Potter reboot. However, two popular shows that don't seem to have a lot in common on the face of it are his Dark Materials and The Magicians. Based on the Northern Lights trilogy by author Philip Pullman, the 2019 series His Dark Materials focuses on Lyra Belacqua, a supposed orphan who finds out her parents are secretly alive and on opposing sides of a religious war. A twisty story that involves alternate realities and parallel universes, His Dark Materials doubles as a poignant coming-of-age drama. In contrast, Sci-Fi's The Magicians radically changed the source book trilogy by author Lev Grossman that it was based on. The series centers on a grad student, Quentin Coldwater, who attends Brakebills University for magical pedagogy. A rare magical university story, this 5-season fantasy show was notable for aging up its main characters and making them college students instead of teens. This means that The Magicians and His Dark Materials don't seem all that similar at first glance, but the underrated HBO Max show The Nevers effectively blended their stories into a new, original plot. The Nevers transcends its controversial creator with a killer cast. Released in 2022, The Nevers is a sci-fi drama series set in Victorian London. The show focuses on a largely female group of characters known as the Touched, who, thanks to aliens, are blessed with abnormal powers. An epic sci-fi story, The Nevers starred Laura Donnelly as the show's heroine, Zephyr, who can see flashes of the future but never lets this get in the way of her feckless personality. Her second-in-command was the religiously devout Penance, Zephyr's best friend and a member of the Touched who could sense electrical energy patterns. There was also a villainous surgeon who hoped to experiment on the Touched, a military veteran who refused to believe in their powers, and a wealthy benefactor for the Touched in the form of Olivia Williams' Lavinia Billow. With a superb supporting cast that included James Norton and Dennis O'Hare, readers might reasonably be wondering how this one-season fantasy series on HBO Max missed them when the show was first released. The reason is likely that the original creator of The Nevers, disgraced writer, director Joss Whedon, stood down as the show's showrunner in late 2020 after extensive allegations of workplace harassment dating back decades were uncovered. Little Ash's screenwriter Philippa Goslett went on to take over showrunning duties, but reviews for The Nevers couldn't help but notice how many of Whedon's Hallmark obsessions still found their way to the show's finished story. This was a shame, since the historical sci-fi drama otherwise had potential. Why The Nevers was cancelled after a bidding war for its creation. The Nevers boasted a great cast that elevated the show's uneven writing, and its season 1 storyline came together surprisingly well after a shaky start. However, the show never received a second season, despite its original creation sparking a bidding war between HBO Max and Netflix, likely due to its inalienable association with Whedon's brand. This was a shame, since The Nevers had a unique, albeit imperfect, story that blended the ensemble cast of The Magicians with the Old English setting of His Dark Materials to create something that felt genuinely new.